All right, getting into the game though, Jared, what's your biggest matchup to watch in this game? Is it the quarterbacks? Is it the running backs? Is it maybe the defenses? What is your biggest thing to look at as far as maybe a mismatch, something like that in this game?
So a very broad perspective, I really want to see how this Patriots offense goes and tries to attack the Rams defense. And a little more specifically, I'm going to be looking in the trenches. I want to see, we all know about the players on this Rams defensive line.
Yeah.
Aaron Donald, Ndamukong Suh, Dante Fowler, right? They have a host of dogs, as you like to say, on that defensive line that can get to the quarterback. Them against the Patriots offensive line. And how will Tom Brady be able to audible and make it so that he, gets the ball out of his hands quickly and he doesn't let these fierceful defenders from the Rams get after him? Because like Ryan Johnson, a friend of the show, just mentioned, and like I was going to mention even previously before reading this, the Giants, when they beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and when the Eagles beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, the way to get to the Patriots, it seems like, is to rush 4 defenders and drop 7 defenders in the coverage. And if you do that, it seems like you have a better opportunity to win. Brady does not seem to do as well with that type of defensive play calling. If you're blitzing, right, Brady's probably going to see it. He's been in the league for too long. He has seen every defensive scheme you can think of, pretty much. If you only rush 3, then Brady's going to be able to basically sit in the pocket and eventually pick you apart.
Yeah.
So both the Eagles and the Giants in previous years have been successful at rushing 4, dropping 7, and while it may not look like it in the first quarter, as the second half and when you get into the fourth quarter comes along, the defenses seem to get stronger and stronger, and I think we saw in both of those matchups, like I just mentioned, that's what happened. So if you're the Rams, even though you don't necessarily like to do it a whole lot, I would rush 4 and trust that your back 7 can hold up in the passing game. That is going to be the key for me going into this matchup.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting take. I like it. You look at their pass defense, the LA win the regular season, and it was 14th in the NFL. Middle of the pack, not great for some of the names they have on that thing. Now they were missing Talib. Marcus Peters didn't have the best year he could have, but nonetheless, they still are. They're not bad. It's not a bad DB core, so I like that. My matchup is going to be the running back matchup, and both these offensive lines are very good. Pats was number 4 during the season. Rams was number 6, so not really an advantage there for either team. But that means the running backs are going to get more yards than most running backs. You look at the Dallas Cowboys. You get Ezekiel Elliott gets so many yards because that offensive line is amazing over there. Sony Michel, 5 touchdowns, 242 rush yards his last 2 games. Okay, that's huge, and they're not passing touchdowns; those are rushing touchdowns. James White, Rex Burkhead are factors of this. Are definitely factors of this Patriots offense more in the passing game for James White, but they still are running backs. And then you look at the Rams, and you have Todd Gurley, who is an MVP candidate. And you also have C.J. Anderson, who's come on and been a very, very good addition
the bowling ball
to the Rams. Exactly. But Todd Gurley's impact was essentially nothing against the Saints. So where will his impact be? So that's why I think the matchup with the running backs is huge, because if the Patriots do what they've done in the running game, they're going to win the Super Bowl. Okay? But if the Rams can get back to what they did in the regular season with Todd Gurley and then throw C.J. Anderson in there, that could win them the Super Bowl. Okay? So I think the running game, the clock management will be the biggest factor in this game for the Rams and the Patriots, because both have shown that their running game can be stout at times. So, also, I had a stat here. What was the stat? LA is also 23rd in rush defense, too. And the Patriots, number 11 in rush defense. So the Patriots definitely have the advantage here. And they're probably salivating. They're like, well, Todd Gurley hasn't looked that good. We can stop C.J. Anderson. So the Rams more so need to get that running game going in this game in order to have a chance. Because if the Patriots just stop that, you're forcing Jared Goff to win you the game. And literally the biggest game, of his life, maybe his biggest game ever that he plays in. So I would not trust that. Go with the MVP. Go with someone that is legitimate on this.
Yeah. Speaking of Todd Gurley, listen, he may have not, maybe hasn't been playing so well in the postseason. We all know the MVP candidate that he is,
No, exactly.
and how well that he's done in the regular season. And you know what? I'm going to give him a little bit of a break. I don't think he's 100% healthy, so I think that's kind of played into
Gotta
this.
play through it though.
Why he's not?
Though.
No, I understand that. I'm not giving him a
through it.
pass. I'm just saying I think because he's maybe like 85-90%. Maybe he's not completely trusting himself. Maybe he's still dealing with some pain, and so he's not able to freely just play his game. Whoever signed C.J. Anderson, whoever made that final call, deserves like a medal for the Rams.
Yeah.
Like that was probably the biggest signing of the Rams' entire season, and how he's been able to come in and spell one of the arguably the best running backs in the game like that. C.J. Anderson has been nothing short of spectacular. But for Todd Gurley, think about this. Todd Gurley played at Georgia, right? This game is in Atlanta, right? Sure. Very, very close. Basically a home game for him. You have to think that he is going to want to come out and not only play well, but I think he's going to like tell C.J. Anderson, hey, man, I got this, right? Sure. Like you helped us carry us here. This is my hometown for the Super Bowl. I got this. Like, I'm not coming off the field. I don't care if it's first down, second down, third down, and 20. I got this. Yeah. So if I'm expecting big things from Todd Gurley, we saw in the last game with the Saints, right? He had 2 drop passes. Yeah. One of those drops turned into an interception, and I think after that, his mental psyche just kind of went away, and that's why Coach McVay kind of pulled him off a little bit. There's no way that his psyche's going in this game. He's going to be hyped up. He's going to be ready to go. I know he's going to have a lot of his family in the stands. He's going to want to impress everyone, impress his hometown. This will be a huge game for Todd Gurley. Mark my words.
That's going to be a huge thing. But guess who else went to Georgia? And guess who else is a running back in this game? Sony Michel.
Oh.
So there's also competition between those two, too, because I believe they played together.
They did. Yeah. When Sony Michel was a freshman.
Okay, so it's they weren't necessarily competing with each other on Georgia. Obviously, Todd Gurley was this top prospect and stuff like that. But maybe a little bit of jealousy there. But so even Sony Michel is going to be playing in a stadium that he's played in a lot of the SEC championship, or right. The city, stuff like that. So that's going to be a very interesting matchup. One of the reasons why I say I think the run game in this is so big, because if the Rams can keep Tom Brady off the field, that's huge. Because Tom Brady is going to win the Super Bowl if you give him the ball. You can win the Super Bowl, okay? You give Tom Brady the ball for 30 minutes in this game, it's over. The Patriots are winning, okay? Unless there's like fumbles by the running backs or balls get tipped by the receivers, Tom Brady will give you all the tools to win the game. Those players just got to go out and win it. So that is going to be very, very interesting. Now, looking at the past game, let's compare Tom Brady and Jared Goff. And I know this is kind of a ridiculous question to ask, but you have to ask it. It's the Super Bowl quarterbacks. I'll ask you this, Jared, in a way. Has Jared Goff impressed you in the playoffs, and has he impressed you enough to where you think he can actually lead this team and make the big plays to get them a Super Bowl victory?
This is really tough, man, because he's a former first overall pick,
yeah.
Right, coming out of Cal. And we know that he has talent. I don't think the question has ever been like his actual talent, obviously, or he wouldn't have been a first pick. It's just I still have this bad taste in the back of my mouth from when Jeff Fisher was the head coach, and he just looked god-awful, right?
Yeah,
so the majority of the credit really has to go to Sean McVay and the new type of offensive system and the protection I think that they've given Jared Goff, right? The protection, the confidence to say, hey, I'm not telling you to drop back 50 times with no extra protection, yeah. And you gunsling it like Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre or Tom Brady. That's not who you are. We're going to run motion. We're going to use our running backs. We're going to use some trickery. We're going to play action, get you out on the move, give you some easy throws. And I think that's where Jared Goff has come a long way. I think he's matured a lot. I think he's kind of been able to read defenses a little better and not necessarily force throws, because especially after that first year with Jeff Fisher, I think there was a huge chip on his shoulder, and he had to prove a lot to people. I think he had to come out and say, I can be this gunslinger. I can kind of be someone who I'm really not. So I think Sean McVay has kind of settled him down a little bit, said, just play within the system. We're not asking you to win the game for us. We're just asking you to manage things, yeah. Use the weapons that you have around you, and we're going to be okay. We're going to be able to win, right? We have stars all over our offense, throughout the defense on all levels, right? We don't need you to go out here and just necessarily throw for 400 yards and 4 or 5 touchdown passes and have to win us this game, right? We are talented enough to win with you just managing the game. So I know people don't like to hear that word game manager from a quarterback perspective, especially in the Super Bowl, because you want to see a guy who's elite, and I don't think Jared Goff is an elite quarterback.
No, he's not. Yeah,
but in this particular system with Sean McVay, I think it works.
Yeah, no, and it's that I love that analysis on that. And I think you're looking at the wide receiver battle too. I'm actually going to give it to the Rams. I think Robert Woods and Brandon Cooks,
no question,
they're a lot more dangerous. And the New England pass defense is number 22 in the league, so below average. So, you need to take advantage of stuff like that. Obviously, you want to run the ball and try to and do that and take care of the ball. But Jared Goff is not facing the best pass defense here in the Super Bowl. So, I know Brian Flores will come up with a great scheme. But I believe the Rams will be able to score a bunch in this game, and Jared Goff just needs to not make those major mistakes, and he really hasn't so far in these playoffs. He did make the mistakes against the Eagles, and he did make the mistakes against the Bears. But coming into this playoffs, I thought they had no chance because that's why I said I thought the Saints would blow them out. Earlier in the playoffs, when the game came, it kind of changed. Jared Goff has impressed me in these playoffs. He's not Tom Brady. He's not Drew Brees, but he's impressed me, so I think they do have a chance with Jared Goff at the helm. I would have never said that, say, Week 13, Week 14, stuff like that, when Goff is throwing interceptions, could barely throw the ball 10 yards, stuff like that. Also, playing in a dome does help, too, because there's no factors of the outdoors.
Oh, that weather right now is horrible, by the way.
Yeah, no, exactly. So they're beneficial that is going on. So that will be interesting. Now let's look at kind of the intangibles for both these teams. Special teams. I think the kickers in both these teams are pretty solid. Zerloin, the last game really essentially won the game for the Rams when they got that extra chance after that bad pass interference call. You look at the overall special teams. Julian Edelman's been a very great returner in the past for New England. The Rams fake punts, stuff like that. Their punter Johnny Hekker is one of the best in the league. So I think you're looking at the intangibles. It's pretty similar. Would you say that, or do you think one team has an advantage? At least for special teams.
So this is actually very similar, and in almost any other situation, I would have given the advantage to the Rams. And like you mentioned, they not only have a great kicker in Zerline, but Hekker, he not only punts, he can pass.
He's a great quarterback, yeah.
And if you saw in the last game with the Saints, he did the same thing. Now, they've run that same play a few times this year. I guarantee you the Patriots do not get fooled, right? We talked about this on the last podcast when we were analyzing that Saints-Rams game. The gunner, the outside receiver, he runs about 5 to 6 yards. He runs a stop route. He immediately turns around, and Hekker, he grabs the ball, and it looks like he's going to punt, and then at the last second, boom, chucks it. The defender, his job is to make sure that receiver does not get to the punter, right, or the punt returner. So he is already backpedaling and, running backwards. So in that instance, you're not necessarily thinking that receiver is going to stop,
There's no
right?
way, yeah.
I guarantee you these Patriots defenders will be up in the face of those receivers on those punts, and there is no way there's going to be any type of separation. So if there is a fake to be made by the Rams, it will have to be a fake run or some type of fake that we have not seen before, because that play has been run too many times. These Patriots, I guarantee you, will be prepared for that, and that will not happen again. So from a fake field goal, fake punt situation, I give the edge to the Rams.
100%, yeah.
From a kicking standpoint, I'm giving it to the Patriots. Gostkowski is a very, very good kicker.
Zerlin's a good kicker too, though.
He is. Yeah. He is. Gostkowski, I almost think, is almost a little underrated, even though he obviously plays for the Patriots. Won a Super Bowl for them before, been in the Super Bowl atmosphere, and knows what it takes, right? He doesn't really get talked about too much. And I think it's just because he's so consistent and he doesn't necessarily miss on the kicks that you would expect. I think he's just kind of calm, cool, and collected. Yeah. So, yes, Zerline is very good, and Zerline probably has the stronger leg, But as far as experience goes and just that kind of calm, cool demeanor, if there's 3 seconds left and I'm looking for a kicker, between these two that I would want to win us the Super Bowl, I'm actually going with Gostkowski.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because both these teams even have special teamers on that made it to the
Pro Bowl.
Pro Bowl, yeah,
Right.
Corey Littleton and Cordarrelle Patterson. So very, very similar in that ranks. There can be an advantage taken in there, but I don't think that's where the major advantages of this game are going to happen. Unless the Rams come up with some trick plays and stuff like that, or even the Patriots come up with some trick plays, right? So Jim Fassel will come up with something good for the Rams. That's their special teams coach, and that will be interesting. Okay, so looking at 2 more intangibles. Jared, would you say this counts as a road game for both these teams?
I don't really think so.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Super Bowl has gotten to a point to where, listen, like on Monday when a lot of news telecasts and people from SportsCenter are like all over the place, everyone is converging on Atlanta for the beginning of the week, and you saw crowds and crowds of fans who were already there on Monday. So I think you have fans from all over the place, even if you're not necessarily a fan of the Rams or the Patriots, just to say you got the chance to go to the Super Bowl. I really don't think it's going to be an advantage or a disadvantage for either team, especially with the fact that it's in a dome. The weather will not be a factor at all. Now, if the Saints, now this is obviously hypothetical, and I'm just going to bring this up really quick. If the Saints would beat the Rams and the Saints were in the Super Bowl, the Saints would easily have an advantage because
really
they're
close
New Orleans and they're very close. Mm-hmm. The fact that they're not, I really don't think that will be a factor at all. It really won't for the Patriots. The Patriots have been in almost every type of situation you can think of. And for the Rams, I think they're coming in just kind of cool, calm, and collected and saying, we've won anywhere. We won at home. We won in New Orleans. This won't be any different for us. So I don't see the crowd noise or playing in a different stadium really as a factor. I don't think it should be a factor.
Yeah, and the reason I bring that up only is because you look at the home road splits for these teams. You get the Rams; they're 8-1 at home. And I'm counting the playoffs too. 7-2 on the road. 2 of those losses came in tough atmospheres, New Orleans and Chicago. And then you look at New England, and this is the staggering one. 9-0 at home, 4-5 on the road. So if this is in any way a Rams type home game with this crowd getting over there, I don't think it will be, because I just don't think there's enough of a Rams fan base, to be honest, for them to go over and really take over the stadium like maybe say a Kansas City would or a Saints would, something like that. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the New England Patriots handle this game, being on the road, because they are on the road. They're having to travel to Atlanta. I know they're getting a lot of time there to practice, but you got to look at that 4-5 record on the road, and you may give the advantage to the Rams there for the. I at least will give it to the Rams a tiny bit. Small and tangible, but we will see.
No,
we'll see.
Two reasons why you don't do that.
Yeah.
One, the Patriots just went into Kansas City and beat Kansas City, and arguably the toughest and the loudest stadium in the NFL. So that's one point. Number 2, last time I checked, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are still playing and coaching for the Patriots.
Yep.
That's not an excuse for them. Like I said, they've been through every type of situation you can think of as far as a football athlete goes, and player coach. To me, it's all that stuff goes out the window. I don't. They've been in the Super Bowl too many times. Tom Brady's been in the Super Bowl. Will be his 9th appearance in the Super Bowl. Okay,
it's incredible.
I don't buy.
It seems like
any
more,
of that.
doesn't it?
It does. I don't buy any of that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, another thing too to mention about that, one of those losses was the Hail Mary by the Miami Dolphins at the end of the game. So, be forward.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Exactly. You brought up Bill Belichick. The last intangible I want to go over is the coaching. And there's a lot of good coaches, and it's not just the head coach with these two teams. You obviously have Bill Belichick and Sean McVay, 2 of the brightest minds in the NFL. Belichick, obviously, with more Super Bowl experience, more playoff experience, more experience overall than McVay. But McVay has been lauded as one of the smartest coaches in the NFL. Then you even look at the ranks of the assistant coaches. Brian Flores and Josh McDaniels, 2 head coaching candidates coaching for the Patriots. I mean, Brian Flores is going to become the Miami Dolphins coach after this game. So you already have that in there. Josh McDaniels has been a head coach, almost joined the Colts last year. great offensive mind. And then you even look at LA. Wade Phillips, been a head coach, great defensive coordinator, and Zach Taylor, the quarterback's coach, he's going to become the Cincinnati Bengals coach. So, what do you? Because it's pretty easy to give the advantage to Belichick and all that stuff, but do you think that McVay and this staff is good enough and they're not going to be taken advantage of in a way?
No, of course they are. If they made it to the Super Bowl, of course they're good enough.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm not taking anything away from them. The smartest thing that Sean McVay did the moment he accepted the head coaching position with the Rams was he went and signed Wade Phillips, right?
Yeah,
he understood at the time he was a 31-year-old, still the youngest head coach in NFL history, right? And he said, listen, I know that I'm a great offensive mind. I also need help with the rest of my team. So what does he do? He keeps the special teams coach who's been with the Rams for years and years, and he goes out and gets Wade Phillips, who's been a multiple-time head coach with different teams. So he says, listen, Wade, I need you to go and take care of the defense, at least for the first year, and I'm going to have to control this offense until these guys get familiar with my system. Now they're at a point to where, like, you see it, and you do see it in other sidelines as well, but especially with the Rams, when the Rams defense is on the field, Sean McVay isn't even worried about them. Yeah. He is literally talking with Jared Goff and the offense, and his back is turned to the playing field, right? He trusts Wade Phillips so much that he doesn't even need to be there or see what's going on. Now, obviously, if it's the end of the game or if it's a big situation, he will be. But a lot of times, he's focused on what the offense is doing, and they're getting ready for their next possession, and he's letting Wade Phillips literally be the head coach and handle everything. So, from that standpoint, I think that was very smart of Sean McVay, because he got that experience that he needed, and he can lean on Wade Phillips. Now, with saying all of that, the Patriots, and it comes down to experience, you have to give them the edge.
Yeah,
right? Their coaches have been to more Super Bowl appearances than the Rams have. And I just, at the end of the day, with having 2 weeks to prepare, and with the amount of times that Bill Belichick and Tom Brady and the rest of this staff have gone through this motion of having 2 weeks off or having a week off, getting to the Super Bowl site a week early, knowing how to prepare, I just don't see how you can go against these guys. They have it down pat. They have a specific routine. They know what to tell their guys, how to get ready, when to practice, when to rest, right? It's almost one thing. It's kind of weird because you don't want to overload your players with too much information, knowing that there's so much time until the game. It's not like the game was played last week and the guys had to get ready for 1 week, right? You have 2 weeks to prepare. You're going to a different city for an entire week. So I think there's a fine line of saying, all right, guys, we're going to do small installation here on this day and slowly add things. If you just give your players the full playbook, I think that's kind of overloading them, and I think that can kind of intimidate them a little bit. So I think Bill Belichick is a mastermind at slowly bringing along the game plan and kind of letting his players easily, get comfortable with things. Yeah. So I think that's something that's a little underrated, and for that reason, I'm giving the kind of head coaching nod to Bill Belichick. I don't see how you can.
You're right. Sean McVay could overload the players. He's never been here in this big of an atmosphere.
Now, I'm not saying he's going to.
No.
I was just kind of citing...
like Wade Phillips, correct me if I'm wrong. He wasn't the head coach in the Super Bowl, right? I mean, I don't even think he's been in the Super Bowl before. Zach Taylor,
he was with Denver.
He was
Super Bowl 50.
You're right.
She has been.
So he has the experience and more recent too. But obviously McVay, Zach Taylor, a lot of those other guys have not. So I'm going to give the advantage to the Patriots too. But the Rams staff is not bad. It will be interesting to see what they come up with. If they make mistakes, if you can see the New England Patriots take clear advantage of something, maybe one of those fake punts just gets intercepted right off something like that. It'll be interesting to look and talk about the game next week and see, if the Rams won, wow, they did it. They beat the Patriots. They had a game plan. Or if they lost, you pick apart, see what the Rams did wrong, see that experience. That's a great point. I think you'll only hear on the Cover 2 podcast too right there. All right, so we got about 5 minutes to go. Kind of give me, Jared, your keys to the game for each team. It can be, it can be 1, 2, whatever you want to do, and then give me your prediction. Who do you think wins Super Bowl 53?
All right, so quick keys for each team. First, I'll start with the technical away team with the Patriots, and like I mentioned, it comes down to Tom Brady and this offense, right? We understand that the Patriots defense isn't the defense of old necessarily. They don't really get to the quarterback as much. They play more coverage, and they're kind of scheme based, right? So they don't necessarily have stars on their team, but the collection of 11 guys that are on the field play really well together, and they do just enough to give Tom Brady time, right? And they don't give up 40 points a game. They're not getting bullied over or anything like that. But really, this comes down the Patriots offense. If Tom Brady has the ball last, the Patriots are going to win. Right? I think it's as simple as that. For the Rams, you mentioned it earlier. Control the clock. Keep Tom Brady off the field. That is your best defense, and I think their best opportunity to beat the Patriots. At the end of the day, I think experience beats out youth in this one. I've got the Patriots 27-24.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Really, really close. I think in the end, Tom Brady has the ball with less than 2 minutes. He drives them down. Gostkowski kicks a game-winning field goal, and the confetti drops down, and the Patriots continue to reign as the most dominant franchise in the last couple decades.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. All right, my keys to the game. I have 3 for each team. I'll just run through them real quick. For the Rams to start with, you got to get Todd Gurley going. I think on offense, you take advantage of the Patriots' poor pass defense. Take advantage of those great receivers you have. Stars on defense need to step up. There's a reason they signed and traded for all these guys for the Super Bowl, right, to get to the Super Bowl. So they need to step up and limit Sony Michel on defense as well, so especially those interior linemen. I think you mentioned that earlier. And get Gronkowski completely out of the game. That guy can win a team a Super Bowl. I think you just get him out of the game like the Chargers did in a way. Unfortunately, they weren't able to stop anything else but Gronk. But I think if you can do all of those things, you got it. And then win a possession game. You said, I think you took it right. You took the words right out of my mouth. Take advantage of the clock. Don't allow Brady to be on the field. I had that in my notes. For the Patriots, run the ball down their throats like you did against the Chargers. Use Sony Michel like you did. Get every running back involved. Limit Todd Gurley and C.J. Anderson. Make Jared Goff beat you, because that is a recipe. You don't want to make Tom Brady beat you if you're the Rams, but if you're the Patriots, you want to make that's a better bet than Todd Gurley running for 200 yards. That's not going to work out very well. And like you mentioned, you took the words right out of my mouth again. Use your Super Bowl experience. Have the ball last. Because if you have the ball last, there is no way the Patriots are going to lose this game. It's almost impossible. It would take a drastic Gostkowski miss or maybe a Brady interception, which we have never seen. Usually when they've lost Super Bowls, it's been because teams go down, Eli Manning, stuff like that, and win the game in the last couple seconds. My official prediction, New England 35, Rams 31. They'll be high scoring.
Ooh.
It'll be a high scoring game.
Wow.
I think the Rams will be able to take advantage of that poor to average Patriots defense, and I think that it's going to be the Patriots winning 35-31. Unfortunately, because of my Pick'em League, I have to pick the Rams in order to try to win my money, just because of the way it ended up being. But my official prediction is the Patriots, and I would bet my real money on the New England Patriots. What did Greg,
I am
your
not
son, say?
going with the Rams. He said they beat my Cowboys. I can't go. I'm still bitter. I can't do it. I'm sorry. Yeah,
it's 27-24. Your prediction, New England minus 35-31. So some scoring in each of our games, but yeah, we believe the Patriots will win. RKJ Man had it 30-27 Rams. Not surprising he went against the grain with Los Angeles there on that one, but nonetheless, we both got the Patriots winning. So we'll talk about next week. About a minute to go on the podcast. Those are our Super Bowl predictions. There you go. Anything else you want to say real quick, because we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah, no, like I said, this is going to be a very good game. Now, we've talked about experience versus youth, and obviously the Patriots being there so many times, and the Rams, this is really, especially with head coach Sean McVay, this is their first appearance for many of their guys. Jared Goff, Todd Gurley, Brandon Cooks, all of their Aaron Donald. This is the first time for these guys. So do not be surprised if this game starts out a little bit slow for them, right? Their eyes could be very, very wide and bright, and there's a lot happening. You don't want to make a mistake early, so you could see them being a little tense in the beginning. It may take them a quarter or so to really settle down and get things going.